Well, welcome back. BL Trails and Tales here. Yeah, we got a little thunderstorm going on. It's probably because of what topic is today. I just got done with some of the afternoon news, which I think that I really need to stop watching because, it doesn't change it. If anything, it gets worse. But my heart just goes out, and it actually breaks for that young lady back east that was murdered on the subway. I mean, she came here legally. She came from Ukraine, a war-torn country. She tried to escape that violence. She came to America legally, the right way. She got a job as soon as she got here. She gets on the subway after she's done with work to head back to her apartment. And what happens? She gets stabbed. She gets killed. And for what reason? Why? What in the world? I don't care if the guy was black. I do not give a rip that he was black, white, yellow, pink. I don't care. He killed a young woman for no other reason than just to kill her. They say it was racism. I don't care about that either. What I care about is there was a beautiful young woman that was trying to make a life for herself. She came to the United States of America to do that, and she was murdered. The person that is the suspect in doing all this, I guess that he's been arrested, multiple times, and rightfully so, probably should have been in jail and not, on some subway. But it goes to the state of affairs in our country, the people that we are, the judicial system that we have, where you have liberal type judges that will allow criminals to get out because, they feel sorry for them. I don't feel sorry for them. I feel sorry for the victims. I don't feel sorry for the perpetrator of that type of stuff. Why? I mean, my word. You let them out and they commit murder. They kill innocent people just because they can. Well, I don't know, but I know a long time ago, over 20-some years ago, my future ex-wife told me I needed to teach my kids martial arts. And I didn't. I think they know how to defend themselves. 3 of them were in the Army. The other one's a pretty tough kid anyway. But I didn't for a specific reason, and I'm not going to reveal that here. But at the same time, I truly believe that every young man, every young woman needs to know how to defend themselves from an attacker. And the first thing you need to learn, and it has nothing to do with martial arts or anything like that, but it has to do with discernment and how to keep yourself out of that position. The best way not to get in harm's way is to expect it, I guess, and to stay out of it. On a subway like that, sit at the back of the bus. Sit where nobody is behind you. Sit by the toilet. That smells like rotten tomatoes, I know. But at the same time, nobody's behind your back. If I go in the restaurant, I still sit with my back to people. I mean, if I have a choice to go into a booth or whatever or whatnot, I sit where I can see people in front of me and they can't get behind me. Just a habit. And it works out pretty well. So I think the first thing that we need to do for ourselves, because we can't control what the government does, we can't control what the liberal judges do, we can't control all the drugs and paraphernalia that goes into the minds and corrupts the soul of some of those people that could commit a heinous crime like that. We can't control that. What we can control is ourselves and how we put ourselves into a position, and it needs to be in a defensive position. Not something you have to dwell on, nothing you have to be afraid of all the time, but just little bitty things like sitting with your back to a wall and seeing everybody out in front of you gives you a lot of protection. If you're in school, I mean, it's almost the same way with school people, and you see them shootings and whatnot. I mean, sit in the back, but at the same time, be prepared. If there is somebody beside you and they've got a weapon, it's your duty to take care of them. And most of the time, you need some kind of a training in order to do that. I think it's easier to disarm a person with a rifle and a pistol than it is with a knife. Well, it is. And but at the same time, not everybody can do that or is that position, but and especially in a school type atmosphere. But out in public, you do. You have the responsibility as the man to protect your family, and even as a wife, I think nowadays you need, because there's a separation of husband and wife. They're going in different directions. They're not always together. And when they're together, it's a man's job to protect his woman and to protect his family. And he should know how to use a firearm, and he needs to be carrying a pistol with him at all times. And he knows how to use it, and he knows he needs to be able to acquire it wherever he's got it concealed rapidly and with confidence. And for most of the people, that it really means, I guess, probably going to a gun range or something like that. But learning how to do that, learning how to draw in a circumstance, and to protect your family, because the world is right now to that point, and it's not going to get any better. There's still too many drugs. There's too many alcohol fetal type youngsters that are running out there. They're moms that have done drugs, that are jacked up on whatever, and are alcoholics, and the kids suffer from it. But at the same time, you can have compassion and try to get those kids into a rehab and something, and trying to get them in a Christian atmosphere where they are felt loved instead of felt like a product of a mistake. I've seen kids like that feel like they're products of a mistake. No, their parents basically tell them that they are. I mean, you're just a mistake, you know. Wow, how would that make you feel? I mean, sometimes I think I'm a mistake, but I mean, gee, many Christmas to have your parent tell you that, and especially if you're young, it's like, wow, you know, I got no love, and my whole life was nothing but a mistake. And so now they go in, the devil's got them tempted, demons take over, and they don't care anymore. You know, they don't have anything to live for, and they feel pain, and so they want to give pain back. And I've seen way too many kids like that, and my family will testify to that. You know, big old kid with the proper instruction and love and commitment from our family, this big young man was turning out to be a good kid, a good citizen, and was working and being productive. He had autism and was in our care because his family couldn't take care of him. Actually, he came straight from jail to our house, and because he punched out his dad, I guess, and whatnot. He was a big kid. He was 220s, 6'2", something like that, 6'3". But he wouldn't talk. I mean, it was 6 months before you could get across to him, and it was kind of like working with a horse or a bad dog. It takes a while just to gain their trust. You can't communicate with them. You can't communicate with a horse or a dog that has been physically abused, mentally abused, and you can't communicate with them until you have their trust. And trust takes a long time, and they have to see you, and they have to know that in a circumstance, even when they test you, even when they do something stupid, that you're not going to be stupid, that you're going to be okay. And then they start saying, well, I've done something really bad, and now I'm going to get yelled at, or I'm going to get hit, or something like that. And no, you're not. It's going to be like, well, dang, let's sit down, and if you're a kid, let's sit down and have some supper, and let's talk about this tomorrow. We're going to sleep on this issue and whatnot, and everything's going to be okay. And then that kid realizes that even though I did something bad, I'm okay. I'm not worthless. I'm going to be all right. And the same thing with a dog and a horse. I mean, you got to have patience with the bad ones. And I've been around some bad dogs, some bad Dobermans, and fighting dogs. And shoot, dogs are easy. Within a week, I could take a bad dog and have it just a really loyal companion that is happy. And that's the most important part of the deal. Is be it a child, be it a young man, be it a dog, be it a horse, they need to be happy. If they're happy, they're not going to be wanting to attack you. They're not going to want to do bad things. They're not going to be stabbing a girl from behind, just because. No, because they have more respect for themselves. They're happy. The person that man that stabbed that young woman, he's not happy with his life, and he's just looking to inflict pain. It's the same thing with a dog or a horse. When they're backed up and their backs against the wall, they fight, and a lot of times they'll want to fight you or anything that they think is a threat. So what we need to do as a society, I think, is to try and take that threat away very, very young. I mean, there's a lot of kids to deal with. My word, there's ministries all over the country here. We have a terrible suicide rate here in this county, and that's just insane to me. And I'm thinking about helping. I've been asked there at the Warriors Ministry to help, and I think that's something I probably need to get involved in, although getting up at 2 o'clock in the morning and going out and sitting on a hill to keep watch is not what I want to really be doing. I'd rather be sleeping, and now lately I have been. I don't know why, but I'm finally coming to peace with things, and I'm not waking up several times a night. And so, my word, I use a CPAP, and I've got like 8.5 hours of sleep the other day, and I was like, wow, I've slept so much, I'm tired now, But no, we all need to help in our way, protect yourself, and then and help these young people just find love. And if they're followers of Jesus, they're not going to be stabbing people from behind. That you don't see that, you see people that are not happy with their lives, feel like they have nothing to live for, and then they lash out, and it's sad. It's sad for them, but it's horrifying for the victim and the victim's family. I mean, somehow you need to be able to stop that. I mean, if there was a person sitting alongside that man that pulled that knife, and he had a concealed weapon, you may get in trouble, you know, and they may call you a villain for pulling out your pistol and shooting that man, but I would shoot him, and I would make sure that he wasn't moving, because I don't want to get in a fight with anybody that may be drugged up. I've seen that. You know, they call it, you know, call it a different deal, but they call the retard strength or whatever. But it's the same thing when they get jacked up on drugs. They can get a lot of adrenaline going, and they can become very strong and very, very violent. And so if you're forced to defend yourself or somebody else, you defend yourself until they're not moving. Serious. If it's a baseball bat or whatever, I don't care. I'm not going to let that person get back up. I'll deal with that consequence later. And so that's my point on this. I don't know. You tell me. Leave me a comment, something. Tell me how, you know, I'm just as bad as they are, I guess. I don't know. But I don't like violence. I've been around violence. I want to avoid it. I think everybody needs to try to avoid it. But when you can't, then you have to become very violent in retaliation. So anyway, my spiel on violence for the week. I just hope we don't have any more, but you know what? You can hope in one hand and in the other and see which fills up quicker, because the world's pretty messed up place now. There's only one solution. Leave me a comment. Tell me what you think that solution is. Yes, sir. Tell me what that solution is. We'll talk to you later.